What if I told you the secret to a stronger heart, steadier legs, sharper memory, and more stable blood sugar, was sitting quietly on a dusty shelf in your local grocery store? Would you believe me? Most of my patients laugh when I say that, until their lab results come in. Here's the reality. According to the American Heart Association, 2023, nearly 77% of Americans over 60 are living with elevated risk of heart disease, osteoporosis, or type 2 diabetes. Statistics are even more alarming when we look closer. 1 in 3 seniors will suffer a stroke or heart attack within the next 10 years. That's not a scare tactic, that's a national crisis. Meanwhile, the CDC, 2022, reports that over half of those 65 and older begin to show signs of memory loss. Confusion, or cognitive fog, even more troubling. Nearly 80% of older adults don't get enough calcium or omega-3s each day, leaving their bones brittle, their hearts strained, and their minds slower than they used to be. And yet, right in the middle of these frightening statistics, we walk right past what may be the most complete natural medicine in a can, priced under $2, a gift nature prepared for us, but one we've learned to ignore. I'll never forget a patient of mine, Mr. Richard, age 72. He came into my office with high triglycerides, borderline diabetes, and a quiet fear in his voice. "Doctor," he said, "I'm scared I'll become a burden. That one day I won't remember my grandkids' names. That my knees will ache and my mind will fade. I won't be me anymore." He was taking 3 different medications, spending a fortune on imported fish oil, and choking down calcium-fortified milk, even though his lactose intolerance left him bloated and uncomfortable. But what turned things around wasn't another pill, and it wasn't some expensive therapy. It was just 3 cans of sardines a week. 6 months later, his cholesterol had dropped, his memory felt sharper, and his bone density scan. We both stared at it in disbelief. "Doc," he said, holding up a small tin can with a grin, "this little guy did more than my whole medicine cabinet." Why should you watch this video to the end? Because in just a few minutes, I, a doctor with over 30 years of experience in internal medicine and nutrition, am going to walk you through why sardines may outperform $40 bottles of fish oil, how their soft bones can fill calcium gaps better than most supplements, why sardines are called nature's artery scrubber, and how this humble fish may help stabilize blood sugar and slow cognitive decline. Without a prescription, you'll also hear real life stories from older adults who gave it a try and felt the difference in their hearts, their minds, and even in how steady their steps became. So if you're over 60, or caring for someone who is, please, don't scroll away, because this small can of sardines might just rewrite the story of your health. So why have we turned our backs on a superfood like this? The answer lies in decades of outdated myths, deeply rooted in our culture and our habits. Let's uncover the truth, together. Breaking the myths. Sardines aren't poor people's food. If there's one food that's been misunderstood more than any other in the world of nutrition, it's the humble canned sardine. People call it the food of the poor, a stinky budget item, something you eat when all you've got is loose change in your pocket. And you know what? I understand that. I used to think the same way. Let me tell you a story about one of my former patients, Mrs. Grace, a 74-year-old widow living alone on a modest retirement income. She came to me with early-stage osteoporosis, mild type 2 diabetes, and signs of memory decline. At a routine checkup, I asked, "Are you taking any supplements?" She smiled and said, "Can't afford those fancy pills like others do. I just stick with the one thing I can." Then she reached into her cloth bag, and pulled out a can of budget brand sardines. It cost her barely over $1, and I'll be honest, for a brief second, my heart sank. That's all she has? I thought. But a few months later, when her lab results came in, I sat there in silence. Her calcium levels had improved, her bone density scan showed progress, her blood sugar was steady, and on a simple memory test, she scored better than many patients taking high-end brain supplements. I asked, you're not taking fish oil. No calcium pills. What are you eating? She laughed again. Same old thing, doctor. A can of sardines with white rice. On good days, I squeeze in a little lemon or ginger. We've been wrong about sardines for far too long. Let's break down the biggest myths. Myth number 1. Sardines are too fishy and gross to eat. Many people can't get past the smell. They say sardines are pungent, cheap, or just not worth it. But here's the science. That strong aroma, it comes from pure omega-3 oils, the very compounds that protect your heart and brain. According to the International Journal of Food Science, 2020, fresh sardines have 2 to 3 times more DHA and EPA than canned tuna. So that smell you're cringing at, that's not a bad odor, that's the scent of concentrated marine nutrition. Myth number 2, canned food doesn't have any nutrients left. Even young doctors fall into this trap. But it's outdated. Modern canning uses high heat and pressure to sterilize food without chemical preservatives. According to the European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, 2021, this process actually dissolves calcium from the sardine bones into the meat and sauce, raising calcium absorption to nearly 90%. You can't replicate that at home, not by frying, baking, or boiling. Myth number 3, sardines are cheap, so they must be low quality. Affordable doesn't mean inferior. In fact, sardines are one of the cleanest, safest, and most nutrient-dense fish on the planet. Why? They're low on the food chain, feeding only on plankton, very little mercury or heavy metals. They have short life cycles and reproduce quickly, no time for toxins to accumulate like in larger fish. They're naturally nutrient-rich, untouched by industrial processing or chemical farming. The Harvard School of Public Health, 2022, even stated, sardines are one of the cleanest and most sustainable sources of natural omega-3s, especially safe and beneficial for older adults. Don't let outdated beliefs rob you of better health. We doctors often say, don't judge a food by its price tag, judge it by the healing it brings. Sardines may seem like a simple pantry item, but inside that little can, you've got a full-fledged nutritional powerhouse, pure omega-3s, natural vitamin D, bioavailable calcium from soft bones, coenzyme Q10 for heart health, selenium to fight aging, vitamin B12 for brain support. This so-called poor man's food may be one of the most overlooked superfoods of the century. We ignored it because of its smell, because of its price, because it didn't come in a glossy supplement bottle. But starting today, if you've ever walked past that humble can of sardines without a second glance, it's time to go back, because you might just be missing the most affordable, powerful tool for protecting your health after 60. Still think sardines are just food for the poor? Wait until you see what they can actually do inside your body. 7 reasons why sardines are a natural all-in-one medicine after 60. If there were ever a food that felt like it was custom designed for the body after 60, it would be the humble sardine. From your heart, bones, and brain, to your blood sugar, vision, and immune system, this little fish carries a natural balance that no synthetic pill can replace. Here are 7 powerful reasons why. Reason number 1. Clears your arteries, lowers cholesterol, protects the heart. Sardines are one of the purest natural sources of omega-3s, with exceptionally high levels of EPA and DHA. According to the Journal of the American Heart Association, 2019, eating sardines 2 to 3 times a week can reduce the risk of stroke and heart attack in older adults by up to 27%. Omega-3s in sardines act like little janitors inside your blood vessels. They help sweep away plaque from artery walls, reduce inflammation inside vessels, stabilize heart rhythm and blood pressure. I gave up fish oil pills. Switched to sardines. 3 months later, my doctor said, your heart looks 10 years younger. Paul, 67, reason number 2, bioavailable calcium, prevents osteoporosis and fractures. As we age, our bones naturally thin. But getting calcium isn't just about popping pills. Sardines are one of the few natural foods that offer both calcium and vitamin D, together, in perfect harmony. Thanks to high-pressure canning, the bones in sardines become soft and edible. And this calcium is often better absorbed than what's in tablets. Vitamin D, in turn, helps direct that calcium into your bones, not your blood vessels. European Society for Clinical and Economic Aspects of Osteoporosis, 2023. Taking calcium without vitamin D is like building a house with no foreman, lots of bricks, but no structure. Reason number 3, feeds the brain, supports memory and fights cognitive decline. The aging brain is like old wiring, fragile, slower, vulnerable to damage. DHA, found abundantly in sardines, helps rebuild that wiring. It strengthens the protective layers around brain cells and boosts communication between neurons. It also improves focus, supports memory retention, fights neuroinflammation. Sardines are also rich in vitamin B12 and vitamin D, both directly linked to Alzheimer's risk. Alzheimer's Dementia Journal, 2022. Deficiencies in B12 and vitamin D are key drivers of accelerated cognitive decline after age 65. Reason number 4, stabilizes blood sugar, supports diabetics and prediabetics. Sardines don't spike your blood sugar. In fact, they help regulate it. Why? They're high in protein and healthy fats, omega-3s, slow down carb absorption. Omega-3s and vitamin D improve insulin sensitivity and reduce insulin resistance. The Lancet Diabetes Endocrinology, 2021. Adults who ate sardines twice a week had significantly better HbA1c and insulin sensitivity in just 6 months, without increasing medication. Reason number 5, protects vision, fights macular degeneration. As we age, our eyes are vulnerable to macular degeneration, AMD, the leading cause of blindness in older adults. The DHA and EPA in sardines maintain the structure of the retina, reduce damage from blue light, fight inflammation in tiny blood vessels around the eye. Archives of Ophthalmology, 2010. Older adults who consumed omega-3 rich fish at least twice a week had a 35% lower risk of AMD. Reason number 6, strengthens immunity, helps the body recover faster. The immune system after 60 slows down. Infections hit harder. Recovery takes longer. Sardines contain selenium, a key mineral that powers immune cells, vitamin D, which calms chronic inflammation and boosts immune signaling, easily absorbed protein to support recovery from illness, especially helpful for those recovering from flu or COVID, undergoing cancer treatment, struggling with chronic fatigue or weakness. Reason number 7, affordable, yet incredibly effective. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars a month on calcium pills, fish oil, multivitamins. A can of sardines costs around $1 to $1.50, yet it gives you omega-3 oil, vitamin D, natural calcium, B12, selenium, coenzyme Q10. I used to spend over $40 a month on supplements. Now I just eat a few cans of sardines each week. My lab results are better than ever. Henry, 71. Sardines aren't just food, they're a natural medicine, complete, safe, and designed for the aging body. And the best part, you don't need a prescription, you don't need a doctor's note, you don't need to worry about side effects. Just open a can, and you're giving your heart, bones, brain, and blood sugar a second chance at life. But even the best remedy isn't for everyone. If eaten the wrong way, sardines could do more harm than good. Who should be careful with sardines? Sardines are a natural superfood. That much is true, but as with any food, nothing is perfect for everyone, and as a doctor, I always remind my patients, even the healthiest food, if used the wrong way or for the wrong person, can still cause harm. So let's take a moment to talk about who should be cautious when it comes to sardines, especially those of us over 60, those with gout or high uric acid. Sardines, like many nutrient-rich small fish, contain high levels of purines. when purines are broken down in the body, they produce uric acid. If too much uric acid builds up in the blood, it can form crystals that trigger intense joint pain, especially in the toes, heels, or knees. The American College of Rheumatology, 2022, warns, during active gout attacks, avoid sardines, anchovies, organ meats, and alcohol. Even during remission, monitor uric acid closely when consuming high-purine fish. Avoid sardines during flare-ups. During stable phases, 1 to 2 servings per week may be okay, but only with your doctor's approval. Always drink plenty of water, and avoid combining sardines with alcohol or organ meats. Those with chronic kidney disease, sardines are rich in phosphorus and protein, which is great for healthy adults, but risky for those with poor kidney function. Damaged kidneys can't filter phosphorus well, leading to phosphate buildup, which harms the heart and weakens bones. Also, some canned sardines are high in sodium, which can raise blood pressure, cause fluid retention, and worsen fatigue. National Kidney Foundation, 2021, recommends people with kidney disease should limit foods high in inorganic phosphorus and always read sodium labels on canned goods. Choose sardines labeled no added salt or packed in spring water. If you're on dialysis or in stage 3 kidney disease or higher, consult your renal dietitian before adding sardines to your diet.
Those with high blood pressure, be careful with salted or sauced sardines. Some sardines packed in brine or flavored sauces, especially tomato-based ones, can contain 300–500 mg of sodium per serving, nearly 25% of the daily sodium limit for people with hypertension. Book's American Heart Association, 2023. High-sodium foods are a leading reason why blood pressure remains uncontrolled in older adults. Choose sardines in olive oil or water and double-check the label. Look for 150 mg sodium per serving. Completely avoid flavored sardines with barbecue, teriyaki, or industrial tomato sauces, those with seafood allergies. Though rare, some people may be allergic to sardines, especially if they've reacted to other oily fish before. Symptoms can include rashes, itching, nausea, or even shortness of breath. Books The Journal of Allergy and Clinical Immunology, 2022, found sardines can cross-react with other marine fish like mackerel and tuna in allergic individuals. If you've had seafood allergies, try a small amount of sardines first and monitor your reaction closely. Always consult an allergy specialist if you've had past sensitivities. And what about the rest of us if you're over 60? If you're dealing with heart issues, weak bone, memory decline, blood sugar troubles, and you're not in one of the caution groups above, then congratulations, sardines may just be one of the best health allies you can add to your weekly routine. There's no food that's perfect for everyone, but when chosen wisely, at the right time, in the right way, for the right person, sardines can become a powerful part of your healing plan after 60. And up next, I'll show you how to choose the right type of sardine for your specific health condition, and tell you a true story of how a single can of sardines helped change someone's life.
Stories of those who thought they'd never heal. Until a simple can of sardines changed everything, Doctor. There were days I truly believed I'd never feel whole again. That's what Mr. Robert, 69 years old, a retired railroad worker from Kansas, told me during his first follow-up after a mild stroke. At 67, he had a mini-stroke that left him fatigued, unstable on his feet, and forgetful. He wasn't fully paralyzed, but he said, "It felt like I was walking backwards through life. Every morning I woke up wondering, will my mind still be clear today?" His wife, Lila, began searching everywhere for natural ways to restore his heart and brain, and one day, she placed something simple on the kitchen counter, a can of sardines. "Let's try this," she said. "They say it's good for the heart." He chuckled, a bit bitterly. canned fish? Really? I nearly died of a stroke, and you're feeding me this cheap stuff? But she didn't argue. She quietly opened the can, added a squeeze of lemon, a hint of grated ginger, and gently mixed it into his rice each day. Light bulb. 6 months later, his cholesterol had dropped by more than 30 milligrams per deciliter, his brain scan showed clearer blood flow, and most beautifully, he stopped forgetting his grandson's name. When I asked, "Were you taking any new medications?" he just smiled and shook his head. "Just my wife and her sardines." Dolores, 73, lives alone in California after losing her husband to cancer. She had severe osteoporosis, 2 wrist fractures, and could barely stand for 10 minutes without pain. Her son urged her to take calcium pills, but she refused. "I've been taking calcium for 4 years and nothing's improved. I don't believe in pills anymore." A friend from her church group whispered, "Why not try sardines? Eat the bones too, they're soft as tofu." So she began, each morning, half a can of sardines with warm oatmeal, each evening, sardine omelets, her new signature dish. 9 months later, her bone density scan told a new story. Her T-score went from -2.9 to -2.1, an improvement almost unheard of without prescription medication. "I don't need my cane anymore," she smiled. "I need a shopping cart to buy more sardines." I've cared for hundreds of older adults. Some take medication for years and see little change, others make one small change and start moving uphill again. What's the difference? They're not searching for a magic pill, they're returning to something simple, real nourishment, from real food, and among the most humble yet powerful tools I've seen, sardines stand tall. Are you struggling with aging, medications, and chronic illness? Have you ever paused because you couldn't remember your child's name, or bent down and couldn't stand back up again? Have you ever thought, if only there was something that could help me feel like myself again? There is. It's sitting quietly on a grocery store shelf. It costs less than $2 a can, and it's easy to overlook. But don't, because sometimes, healing doesn't come from the most expensive treatment, it comes from the most forgotten remedy. So now you might be asking, where do I start? There are dozens of sardine brands. How do I know which one is right for me? Let me walk you through it. How to choose the right sardines for your health condition. After learning just how powerful sardines can be, many of my patients ask, "Doctor, there are dozens of sardine cans at the store. Which one should I buy? Are they all the same?" And the answer is, no. Not all sardines are created equal. Choose the wrong kind, and you might actually hurt your heart, kidneys, or blood sugar. So here's what I usually print out for my patients: customized recommendations based on their health condition. For heart disease, high cholesterol, or high blood pressure, choose sardines in extra virgin olive oil. Olive oil contains polyphenol and heart-healthy omega-9s that help lower LDL cholesterol. Check sodium, less than 150 milligrams per serving, lowers strain on blood pressure and helps reduce water retention. Look for sardines sourced from the Atlantic, especially Spain, Portugal, or France. These areas typically have cleaner waters and higher omega-3 content. Avoid completely sardines in brine or tomato sauce with added sugar. Any can listing vegetable oil without a clear source. For osteoporosis or calcium deficiency, choose bone-in sardines, often labeled as with bones. These soft bones are an incredibly bioavailable source of natural calcium. Opt for sardines in spring water or olive oil, preserves vitamin D content, which helps absorb calcium into the bones. Use chopsticks to test. If the bones are soft like tofu, you've got the right kind. For diabetes or pre-diabetes, avoid any with sugar. No barbecue, no tomato glaze, no honey, prevents unnecessary blood sugar spikes. Choose sardines in water or olive oil, with no added flavoring. Look for protein 20 g per 100 g, helps slow carb absorption when paired with rice or bread. Pro tip: mix sardines into a veggie salad with quinoa for a blood sugar-friendly meal. For memory loss or cognitive decline, choose sardines high in DHA/EPA, often labeled as 1.5 g omega-3 per serving. Look for wild-caught to ensure clean, natural fish oil content. Prioritize brands certified by IFOS or MSC. These guarantee purity, sustainability, and omega-3 potency. Pair with brain-friendly foods like avocado, walnuts, pasture-raised eggs, and leafy greens. For recovery after illness, surgery, or fatigue, choose sardines in olive oil or organic sunflower oil. Helps absorb fat-soluble vitamins A, D, and E. Look for high protein, greater than or equal to 22 g per 100 g, plus selenium and vitamin B12. These support tissue repair, immune strength, and nerve recovery. Combine with oatmeal, whole grain toast, or soft-boiled eggs. My favorite healing recipe: sardine egg scramble, steamed spinach, whole grain toast, balanced energy and gentle anti-inflammatory support. Special note for those who should limit sardines: gout/high uric acid, only eat half a portion if your doctor approves. Avoid completely during flare-ups, chronic kidney disease, avoid high-sodium types. Choose no salt added and consult your nephrologist first. High blood pressure, completely avoid sardines in brine, even if they're cheaper. Quick grocery checklist: for beginners, when picking up a can of sardines, just check 3 quick things. What is it packed in? Olive oil or spring water? How much sodium? Less than 150 milligrams per serving. Does it have bones? Yes. With bones equals better calcium, and if you see labels like wild caught, no preservatives, rich in omega-3/DHA, then congratulations, you've just picked up one of nature's most complete nutritional pills. Choosing the right sardine not only makes your meal more delicious, it helps you protect your heart, strengthen your bones, stabilize blood sugar, support your memory, and save on costly medications, because sometimes, a small decision in the grocery aisle, can lead to a big transformation in the hospital room. Now you know what to look for, but the most powerful part of this story, it isn't inside the can. It's in how we choose to care for our health, starting today. My dear friend, we've come a long way together, from the myths surrounding a humble food, to the healing stories that once seemed impossible, and finally, to the realization that sometimes, the simplest choice is the most powerful one. I'm not here to tell you that sardines are a miracle cure, and I'm certainly not asking you to throw away your medications, but as a doctor, here's what I do know: if you put 2 to 3 cans of sardines on your table each week, you're also putting down some of your disease, your worries, and your medical bills, and in return, you're giving your heart, your bones, your memory, and your family a chance to heal naturally, safely, and fully. The greatest health lesson may not be inside a doctor's office, but inside your own kitchen. We don't need to be wealthy to be well. We don't need trendy supplements to feel strong. What we do need is to take a closer look at the things we've forgotten, to slow down and listen to our bodies, and to love ourselves through the small choices we make every day. Why did I make this video? Because I know that out there are so many seniors who are exhausted from strict diets that steal the joy from eating, taking supplements because someone said they're good, without knowing if they're right for their body, eating alone in silence, forgetting that one warm, healing meal can do more than any prescription. If this video meant something to you, I invite you to do 3 things: leave a comment, share your story. Whether it's about your health, your parents, or someone you love, we read every word, and we respond with heart. Share this video, send it to someone you care about, because health is one of the most meaningful gifts we can give. Hit like, so the YouTube algorithm can help spread this message to others who need it most. Subscribe if you'd like more videos like this, not for me, but for you. And for the people who matter most in your life. And before we go, let me leave you with this thought: if I could keep just one food after the age of 60, it would be sardines. Because they didn't just nourish my body, they restored my belief that growing older can still mean living well, thinking clearly, and feeling at peace. You deserve that kind of aging, and if today, you begin with one small can, know that it's not just a meal, it's a promise to yourself. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay well, stay joyful, and live each day to the fullest.